Hi, I'm Tara Andrews, owner and CEO of Joyful Coaching, and I want to thank you for joining me for this free 5-part video training series titled How to Be a Better Boss. As promised, you'll receive a video similar to this in your inbox every Monday in September. And the purpose of each video is to give you simple tools and techniques that you can use to improve your performance, whether you're currently in a supervisory position or whether you want to be at some point in the future. So without any further ado, let's get started. In this first video, I want to talk about rewards. You've probably heard the term managing for results. Well, today I want to talk to you about rewarding for results. Rewarding your employees as a tool and a technique to improve their performance. Now, why would I start with rewards? Because my experience as a career coach and even coaching executives over the last year or so, and I've also seen it in the news that actual jobs are not the only thing that were lost during the recession. Job satisfaction and job quality were also lost. At a time when organizations are asking their employees to do more with less, employees are feeling ignored, devalued, and sometimes plain taken advantage of. So consider this a flag to you as an invitation to take a look around your own organization or division to make sure that you aren't part of the reason your employees are enjoying their jobs less. Even in a world of more constricted resources, there are steps that you can do to let your employees know that you appreciate them. And one of the ways you can do that is to reward for results. Now, we're going to talk about the how you reward. But first, let's talk about the why, the what, and the when. So, first, the why. Why should you reward your employees? Because social science shows us very clearly that positive reinforcement is better than negative reinforcement. The impact tends to be stronger and last longer. So as opposed to pointing out all the places where your employee is doing something wrong and then subjecting them to some form of punishment, social science says that you would do better to point out the things your employee is doing right and then reward them for that. Doing that, rewarding them, will bring you better results in the long term as well as the short term. So that's the why. Now let's talk about the what. What should you reward? You should reward any performance that you want your employees to repeat. Let me repeat that. Reward any performance that you want your employees to repeat. If they do an excellent job on a project and they deliver the deliverable on time and in satisfactory fashion or even excellent fashion, reward them for that. If they identify a problem and then identify the solution and then execute a plan that brings about the resolution, particularly if they did that without involving you at the ground level, that's definitely behavior that you want them to repeat, and you should reward them for that. If they find some way to save the organization resources, or if they bring new resources to the organization, either in the form of capital or in the form of other humans, then you should reward them for that. Any behavior that you see, that you want them to repeat, that is what you should be rewarding. Now, let's talk about the when. When do you reward? As soon as humanly possible. The moment you see something that deserves a word of encouragement and affirmation, you should take action on it right away. You shouldn't say, oh, I'll say something to them Monday, or let me get through this project and then you'll forget or you'll become distracted. Or even if you do remember, it's not going to have the same level of impact that it would have had if you had said something to them right away. I'm a criminology major. One of the things they taught us in the introduction to criminal justice is that for a punishment to be effective, it has to have the right amount of severity, certainty, and celerity. Severity. That means that the punishment has to fit the offense. If it's too lenient or too severe, it won't have the correct deterrent effect. Second, it has to be certain. The person who's being punished has to know that he or she is, in fact, going to have to face consequences of their behavior. And then finally, celerity. Celerity is about speed. The closer in time the person has to face the consequence of the offense, the more deterrent effect the actual punishment has. Well, just as it works for punishment, it works that way for reward. In order for your rewarding to be effective, it has to be in proportion to whatever it is you're rewarding. It has to be certain, which means your reward system can't be inconsistent or sometimey, where the employees don't know whether, they're going to get accolades for this or not, or what kind of mood is she in. And then finally, it has to be as close in time to the thing you see that you want to reward as possible. So we've talked about the why, we've talked about the what, we've talked about the when. Now let's talk about the how. Because how is where most bosses get hung up, because they get hung up on the money. So let's be very clear. No employee, well, let's not say no. The overwhelming majority of employees would never reject a reward that comes in the form of cash. So if you have the resources to give your employees merit increases, to give them end of the year or mid-year bonuses, absolutely. If you have the resources, you should reward your employees monetarily. Again, if you have the resources, you should reward your employees monetarily. Because remember, the money that they earn is money that they use to live the kind of life they want to live. And the better they're able to live the kind of life they want to live, the more productive they're going to be on the job. If they're worrying about how they're going to pay their bills, if they're worrying about how they're going to pay their children's college tuition, if they're worrying about how they're going to take care of their parents, if they haven't been able to afford a vacation in 3 years, all of that is eventually going to affect their performance. And so as often as you're able to do so, yes, reward your employees via cash. But you may be in an organization that is like a lot of organizations, which is you don't have the resources available to provide salary increases or cash bonuses to your employees. Not to despair. There are a plethora of other ways that you can reward your employees that won't cost you or the organization anything, or only cost a very little. Now, you can easily Google how to reward your employees, and I strongly suggest that you do so. There are some websites that give you as many as hundreds of ideas of non-cash ways to reward your employees. But let me give you a couple. If you can't afford cash, another way to reward your employees is time. An extra day off. An extra leaving the office early. Inviting everyone to come in late. Giving them an extra day during the holidays, either on the front end or on the back end. Next to more money, a lot of employees, when polled, say that they would appreciate more time away from the office. Again, so that they can pursue things that they enjoy. They can spend more time with their families. They can take care of their day-to-day responsibilities in a way without feeling crunched. Being available during regular business hours to take care of things around the house, or take care of things around the kids or the aging parents, does wonders in terms of really helping your employees refocus and be present when they're at work, as opposed to at home mentally, even though they're in the office physically. Another way to do that is to also allow your highest performing employees to telecommute, work from home, whether it's a day a week, 2 days a week, 2 days a month. Again, they are your highest performing employees, so you don't have to worry about the fact that they're going to goof off and not do anything related to work if you let them work from home. They've already proven that if you give them a task or an assignment, they're going to pull it off, and they're going to pull it off in wonderful fashion. So allowing them to work from home so they can be there to send the kids off and be there when the kids come home, or they can run to the gym and have a workout during the day as long as the work gets done. So that's another way that you can reward particularly your best performing employees. So we've talked about money, we've talked about time. Now let's talk about words. We don't speak to each other a lot anymore. We send emails. We send texts, or we jump on conference calls. But to get up out of your office, walk down to Erica's office and let her know how much you appreciate, how much you were impressed, what a great job she did on that last assignment. That was an excellent idea that she came up with in the meeting. I'm so appreciative you took that on because I didn't have time, and taking that off my desk really freed me up to take care of some other priorities. That you can almost see the employee sort of square his or her shoulders, sit a little higher in their chair, walk with a little bit more swagger or a little bit more pep in their step as they're going down the hall. Words are a great way, affirming words are a great way to reward your employees. If you're not one for spoken words, then we can do the written word. But again, don't send an email. Bring back the handwritten thank you note. Addressed to them personally in your handwriting as legible as you can make it, and then signed with your live signature, and then either left on their desk or in their mailbox, or maybe even mailed to them at their home address. You have absolutely no idea the impact that can have. Because again, remember, we're still sort of in an environment where organizations have constricted. They haven't really expanded back to where they may have been 3 to 5 years ago. And so employees are still being asked to do a lot more with a lot less. And for you to take time out of your schedule to acknowledge that you see them, you appreciate them, and you're impressed with their performance, the dividends that will pay, the miles that will take you will be amazing. So those are just, again, a few ways that you can reward your employees without having to spend money. Oh, one more thing I wanted to mention. Take them out for breakfast, for lunch. Host a happy hour for the team or the division. And again, if you don't have resources to give everybody a raise, maybe you have enough resources in the organization to at least let the first round be on you. Food works great, especially food over light conversation, where you can just laugh and joke and really get to know each other in a social, not so professional setting. Marvelous. Throw a party, a bagel party, bring lunch into the office, figure it out. The employees will appreciate it. And make sure that they understand with all of these things, make sure that they understand that this is you acknowledging them and rewarding them for performances that you want to see them repeat. So this concludes our first video in our 5-part training series. I hope that you have found value. If you have, feel free to forward this link to anyone else that you think would be interested. It's not too late for them to register. They can participate in the rest of our video training series. And I will see you again on next Monday, September the 9th, for the second video in our training series. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your week.